What's going on, everyone? So the San Antonio Spurs had two open roster spots, and the question was, how are they going to fill that? Were they going to bring in some vets and kind of stick with the Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes type route, get some guys in there to help develop? Were they going to go with some projects, some upside guys, or were they going to bring back Mamu and Bassey and turns out that they brought those two back. So, the San Antonio Spurs are re-signing center Charles Bassey to a fully guaranteed 1-year, $2.2 million contract. Deal was negotiated by Young Money, APAA, CEO Eddie Von Gontard, and agent Devin Cohen. Bassey was waived last week with multiple non-guaranteed years on his deal, but now gets a new guaranteed deal and will be an unrestricted free agent in 2025. The reserve big man is expected to return from ACL injury in the first half of next season. Mamu, free agent Sandro Mamu, has agreed to a 1-year, $2.2 million deal to return to the San Antonio Spurs. Sources tell ESPN. George Ruskis and Mark Bettelstein of Priority Sports confirm the deal. So, first off, want to talk about Bassey. He's shown some real promise. He's still very young, 23 years old. His biggest issue has just been injuries. Like, the guy just can't stay healthy. Obviously, he's dealing with that ACL injury that he's supposed to return on. This is a guy that had some real promise and has had some moments. Question is just like, is it going to be one of those things where, he comes back for, a couple weeks and then boom, he's injured again, right? It's kind of hard to see what he really can be until he can actually string together enough of a real sample size to know, like, what is his long-term value? What is his long-term goals? I mean, he's got decent size. He can play both the power forward and the center spot. This is a guy that, if given the opportunity, feels like a guy that could go get you some meaningful just points and buckets. He was drafted by the Sixers and then ended up making his way to the Spurs. And the first year with the Spurs, which was the 2022-2023 season, he actually, again, showed some promise. He played in 35 games. He started 2 of them. He averaged 14 and a half minutes per game. Shot 37.5% from three-point range, but like on less than an attempt per game. But it is good to see that, he's a guy that has that potential. The ability to maybe be able to step out and knock down the occasional three. Probably not a guy that you're going to take 5 threes a game, but can he knock down the occasional open three? Or, if you just get into some action and he just ends up, breaking out and is wide open, can he knock it down on occasion? Like, that's a good sign that he can do that. Shot 64.4% from the field. And then from the free throw line, that season he shot 59.5%, which isn't great by any stretch. That's usually not a good sign. But the previous year, he shot 75%. And last year, 2023-2024 season, he shot 83.3%. So again, you're seeing that uptick. And last year was probably his best shooting, but you didn't get the sample size that you got. That's why I'm using the 2022-2023. But we'll talk about the last year as well. But he gave you 6 points, just a hair under, 1.3 assists, 5.5 rebounds. So this is a guy that I think if you gave him, 25 minutes a game could get you a double-double rather easily, block you a shot, get you a steal, and, get you 2 to 3 assists, right? He was looked at, and one of the reasons Spurs brought him in was he was looked at as a guy that could be a Spurs type of player and fit kind of the Spurs mold and what they like to see. But then you look at last year, and again, injuries are a big factor, but he played in 19 games. He averaged 11 minutes. He shot 72.5% from the field as opposed to 64.4%, but on 2.1 attempts rather than 4 attempts. Again, 3-point range, he didn't take single three. 2-point range was 74.4%. And then from the foul line, 83.3%. He also, and again, he gave you, 5 minutes less? He still gave you 3 points and 4 rebounds with a block and a half a steal and 1.1 assists. So again, in limited play, even just as like a limited rotation guy, This is a guy that has shown that he can do a little bit of everything for you and fit in the mold and actually have an impact on the basketball court. But can he stay healthy? Can he get his body right? Because we've seen guys that, they have injury struggles early on, and then they eventually kind of just get over that hump. And yeah, they might still have little injuries here and there, but for the most part, they're able to be an actual rotation piece, slot in, and actually contribute to their team. I mean, how many guys over the last 10 years have we seen take off an entire year and come back and are great? So, but in the same breath, we've also seen more that have started off with the injury bug and are never able to shake it, are never able to get past it, and they're out the league in a year or two. And so that's the question. Is Charles going to be one of those guys, or is he going to be one of the guys that, where he's able to get over the hump and really be a key contributor for the Spurs? That's the hope. But next up, Mamu's the guy that I just based on making videos and stuff, many of you wanted to see return. Many of you wanted to see come back. And again, it's a guy that has some potential. This is a guy that is very versatile. He's got decent size, decent length. He, again, was a second-round pick. But he's a guy that I think the Spurs utilizing him as probably more as like that power. I mean, yes, he can play center. He's 6'10", right? Like 6'11" in some places have him listed, but really he's like closer to 6'9", 6'10", 240. So he can be that small ball center. But to me, I look at him more as this versatile, like kind of four, where, you can have him, slot alongside like a Victor Wembanyama. He can make plays. He can, help keeping the ball moving along, knock down the occasional three. Obviously, he's a guy that needs to work in that department. He's had some, with Milwaukee, he shot 42.3% on 1.3 attempts. But then you saw him, again, go to San Antonio, 34.3% on 3.5 attempts. And then last year, on 1.4 attempts, he shot 29.7%. So he definitely needs work in that field, in that department. But I think Mamu can be a guy that is very versatile for the Spurs. I think, again, you slot him alongside like a Victor Wembanyama. I do think on occasion you can play him as like your small ball center. He's a guy that can rebound and positions himself well. He's a guy that can make plays out of the post, right? I mean, like you look at in the 2022-2023 season, he gave you 11 points, 7 rebounds, 2.5 assists, half a steal, half a block. He gave you 2.7 offensive rebounds. He shot 70% from the foul line. He had an EFG of 52%. He had a 2-point percentage of 52.4% on 5.5 attempts, and then shot 34.3% on 3.45 attempps. He played 23.3 minutes that season in 19 games and started 7 of them. Again, like if he can give you that level of production, right, but more efficient, right? Because that's the problem, is just he's still very raw. He still needs some work. But if he can be that efficient and continue to develop and grow, I do think he could be very versatile for a Spurs guy. Again, he is a Spurs player, right? Guy that can play multiple positions, a guy that is unselfish, can keep the ball moving, right? Can slot in at the 4, can slot in at the 5 at times. Again, I do kind of like him more as a 4 than like going the small ball route at the 5. But again, like in a pinch, in a spot, you can, certain matchups, you're playing the Warriors and Draymond's the 5, right? You could slot Mamu right there and boom, he can match up, right? He's not young in the sense of like he's like 21, but he's not old in the sense of he's like 28, 29, right? He's kind of right in that middle of where in the next like 2 years, you're really going to see what you have with him, right? Because then at that point, he's going to be, 27, and it's like, okay, like, is this a guy that's really a valuable piece going forward? Right now, again, I think he's worth the look. I think both of them are, right? I think both guys, and Bassey and Mamu are both at least worth the look for another year, right? You gave him a guaranteed deal for 1 year. You didn't sign him for 4 years. You kind of get to reevaluate them, play them in some spots, maybe give them some opportunity down in the affiliate, like kind of just see What can they continue to grow and develop into, right? And then kind of use this as another year to gauge. Even if they go into unrestricted free agency, there's probably not going to be a plethora of teams lining up to bring both of these guys on. So you probably don't really run the risk of losing them. Even if you did, I don't think it's a big deal if you're the Spurs. But to me, I think that this made a lot of sense for the Spurs, right? Two guys that you like, that you're kind of keen on, but you want to see a little more. You want to give them an opportunity to develop, right? You kind of just, hey, we're gonna bring you in for the year, give you guaranteed, so we help you out. You get to go into unrestricted free agency. If it works out here, we'd be more than happy to bring you back. If it doesn't, maybe somebody else picks you up. Maybe you can show enough to one of these other teams that they'll take a flyer on you. I think this was the best course of action for them. I really do. Now, will the Spurs do other moves? Will they make other trades? Also, now that you have these two guys on an actual deal, you could always just add them on to a trade if need be. Right? So it gives you some flexibility in that regard. So again, I think this is a win-win across the board for the Spurs. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of them bringing back Mamu and Bassey, or do you think no, like they should have just left those guys, went the vet route, or brought in some other young guys? Are you high on either of these guys? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I would love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.